Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, there can be no surer sign than an economic policy is failing than job losses. It is one of those key indicators. Once unemployment starts rising, once people are getting laid off en masse, you know that things are going wrong, badly wrong. And that is what we're finding. The economic genius that is Rachel Reeves has proven to be utterly disastrous for this country, for the economy, and for future growth. And how do we know this? Because up and down the length and breadth of this nation, jobs are going. Firms are shedding jobs at the fastest rate since 2008, at the height of the whole banking disaster, when many people lost their jobs or had to take reduced pay. And it was, pretty bad time in 2008. Well, here we are, 16 years later, and it's back again. From one Labour government to the next, and jobs are failing. The budget tax raid, £40 billion of unnecessary taxation to fill a non-existent £20 billion black hole, has proven to be, like so many things that Labour do, a complete and utter disaster. A disaster not just for the country, but for the individuals who are losing their jobs, their families, and of course their communities. Everybody suffers. It all spirals down the little plug hole that is Labour economic policy. It's an absolute crash waiting to happen, of course. The overall fall was the quickest in terms of a single month since January 21. But it's the biggest number since 2008. The Standard & Poor Index suggested that the sector remained marginally in growth, scoring 51.1. Anything above 50 is positive. But the reading was below the 51.4 that was supposed to be there by analysts, which was also a very low rating. It's going to get far worse. These figures, of course, relate only to the figures up to the end of 2024. Now that Christmas is over, the retail sector will go into a massive shrinkage. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see tens, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs disappearing. This is on top of the fall in domestic growth, the still ever increasing bills for the welfare state, and no idea by this government on how to reverse it, fix it, or to do anything. They are quite literally out of ideas. We know this. Just before Christmas, Keir Starmer wrote the letter to everyone saying, please come up with ideas on how to grow the economy, because we have no idea at all. They came in unexpected to win and go, oh my God, what are we doing? We don't know. We're out of our depth. And that's exactly what it is. Now, it's also saying that business confidence is at a more than 2-year low. There's going to be inflation, major price rises over the next couple of months, certainly before all the stuff kicks in April with the increase in national insurance. That's got to be paid for. That'll be paid for by raising the prices at the factory gates, which is inflationary for everyone, which will mean even more job losses, a rise in interest rates, more job losses, etc. It's a vicious cycle. More than 4,800 firms who were quizzed said the main cost pressure is job retention over national insurance rises and rises in fuel and energy. There we go. The things that they want to put up. Let's put up the cost of fuel. Let's put up the cost of energy. Let's put up the cost of hiring people. And then they are utterly surprised when mass unemployment follows. You know, it's almost as though they're doing it on purpose, which of course they are. They are. Poverty is what the socialists are good at. It's what they always push. If people are rich, they don't vote socialism, do they? The research by the trade group, the British Chamber of Commerce, found that business confidence has fallen since the spending statement. So it's fallen even since the budget. 49% of firms saying they expect turnover to grow next year, but not by the rate of inflation. So basically, they're putting their prices up. The turnover is increasing because prices are going up, not because of growth in purchase. And that was down from 56% last year. So the Tories go out and the business confidence falls. Who'd have thunk it, eh? 55% expect prices to increase in the next 3 months. 60% within the next year. That's up from 39% in a similar poll in the second half of last year. Firms, apparently of all shapes and sizes, are saying that the national insurance hike is the damaging factor. Now, we said on the day when she did this that this would be a job killer. We knew it straight away. It's a job killer. And it's proving to be so. So how the hell she hopes to increase the tax take when you've got fewer people working, God only knows. It's the sort of naivety that you see in children. Certainly not anyone who's ever had an education. Certainly not anyone who's ever had an education in economics. They'd understand things like this. Rachel Reeves does not, because she's never been an economist. She was the one that made the tea in the complaints department. And who, if she didn't get fired twice, it's only through the skin of her teeth. Certainly no good at the job, is she? The survey puts more scrutiny on the performance of the economy, saying that the economy is slowing. It's entering recession. Well, again, is anybody surprised that Britain is going into recession? It always does. Whenever you get socialists in charge, Britain always fails. The economy always slumps, always goes into recession. So it won't be long before they're going to the IMF in the final humiliation of defeat. Raising prices would increase the rate of inflation, which I mentioned, which fell sharply under the Tories. It did rise under the Tories, but they got it back down to 2% before the election, and it's crawling back up already. And of course, that screws with your interest rates, which makes life hard for everyone. And so, yes, life is generally going to get poorer and more miserable as these incompetent, ignorant idiots in Westminster struggle to push ideology over common sense and say, oh, yes, but we must make people poor because that way we can control them. Because it's all about control when you've got a Marxist like Starmer in charge. Although I don't think he's going to be in charge much longer. People are angry. And when people are angry, politicians suffer. And we need to make them suffer. We need these people to understand what true anger is and show them. And show them badly. The French wouldn't put up with it, would they? They don't. I love the way the French let their anger out. We need to be more like the French sometimes. Anyway, leave that there. Thanks very much. Let me know what you think. Speak soon. Goodbye.